Welcome back, College Baseball Central fans. We got another part of our awesome head coaching series we've been doing this offseason. Really excited to have Coach on here. California's head coach, Mike Neu. Welcome into the program, Coach.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Happy to have you on. I've been following Cal baseball my whole life. I grew up out here, so I grew up on the West Coast, and very excited to have you at the head of this program here. And what's the toughest part? I know you guys just had the World Series there in the fall ball season for you guys. Now we got to wait all the way till February 14th. What is the toughest part about heading into the spring season and just waiting until February 14th now, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of put our work in the fall. I think our guys did a great job. So we're excited about kind of where we're at. Staying healthy and then also preparing to compete at a high level. So we're figuring out kind of what the roster looks like and kind of who we have going into the season, and then obviously really trying to stress these guys in the weight room and on the field so we can get prepared for a tough long season. And then you go into the off season. Obviously, we got finals next week, and then they'll be away from us. So we want to give them a good plan so they can come back ready to go in January, and we can start prepping. So I think the hardest things is we have a really good structure and a really good schedule here, and you want them to have some time off. You want them to enjoy some time with their family and be able to get a break from baseball and school, but also keep in perspective that we got a long season ahead. So they got to keeping their bodies in shape, come back prepared, ready to go, because we kind of jump right into it. When you're looking at kind of a three week ramp up really toward the season, and we put in so much work, so you don't want to lose what we've done. So the accountability on their end, we try to promote that really well, and then when they come back, they're ready to get to work and get back to school and have a great season. So yeah, I think that's the challenge that we do, but you got to have some discipline, accountability on their end, and I think we promote that really well with the structure in our program, and our guys typically do a good job of it. So we'll be. I think these guys will be ready to go when they get back.
It's good for these guys to get away, get a little bit of family time, to get a little mental break there after this semester's over. Come back, and once you're back, it's time. Then it's rolling time. It's time to be getting going and getting after it. And we know how close we are. And we think we're at 68 days away now, so we're getting down there, Coach. Talking about the roster limitations and the roster restrictions that they're talking about now. They've done the 34, and it's going to be whether the scholarships. That's going to be all dependent on each conference. They're all going to do their own, whether how many you get. But the 34 roster restrictions, I know for me personally, I said that it should be 40 with 6 redshirt spots. What do you feel about that 34 restriction that they're looking to impose next year?
No, I agree. I mean, I think it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge across the board. So obviously every institution will kind of have their individual challenges. I mean, we're obviously a high academic school, and we got some challenges just with that part of it. But I think we're still trying to plan and figure out what the rules are going to look like. And we obviously know we're going to be at 34. It looks like at December 1st is kind of what the date looks like. So with that being said, I mean, I think we are still trying to kind of figure out exactly what that looks like. When what do we have going into that as far as our roster size goes. You obviously have some other things to shuffle when it comes to college baseball that other sports might not have to. The draft is a little bit later. We're in July with the draft now, so we had 5 guys that went on to professional baseball that were all juniors this last year, which is great. But you don't know that until a little bit later in the game. And then the transfer portal is obviously a factor as well. So I think those are things we're planning for. We're planning for different scenarios. You're trying to project your roster with those, other, elements that go into it that are difficult to plan for. So I think we just try to do the best that we can, plan for it the best we can with our recruiting, and just kind of look at ways to make our roster the strongest it can possibly to be within the new rules. But in order to do that, you got to plan for things that you don't know the answers to the questions yet. And I think that's what everybody's dealing with right now. So it's a challenge. I think the more that we learn and the more we understand about what the scholarships are going to look like, how they're going to come, what the NIL is going to look like, Alston money, everybody's going to be a little bit different with how they handle it within their institutions. And when we find out more, and I think it's not just us, it's pretty much every program in the country is kind of playing the waiting game a little bit to see what they do, then we'll be able to really kind of hammer what's going to be best for the Cal baseball program. But right now it's still a little bit up in the air, and it's not just us, it's kind of everybody in the country. But it's definitely a topic everybody's trying to understand more and figure out. So we
Yeah.
kind of fall right into there right now.
It definitely feels like this rule is probably going to be fluid for at least the first couple of years until they can figure out some more set things. I mean, it's just tough. It's going to be a tough thing. People said, what happens if we have some injuries, between December and January, and then all of a sudden you're down two, three, four guys, and if they're arms, you're really hurting down if you're down to 30 guys. So they're going to have to figure some stuff out. There's going to be more that comes along with this rule. I like the general principle of what they were thinking. I don't necessarily agree with 34, but I understand it's just moving forward from here, Coach.
Yeah,
Who?
100%. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so it's nice to build an inter squad. We really try to thrive on development, and that part of it makes it a little more difficult with the smaller roster, inter
Yeah.
squadding. You want to take care of your guys health wise, which we're really aware of. But yeah, you got to be a little more creative for sure.
Yeah, it's when one of the coaches hops up there with the old BP arm and throws some live games out there for a little bit because you just got to save those arms and get them ready, especially here in the winter time and getting ready before the season. Coach, you've been around, and nobody gets to this level without having some people that you emulate or some mentors. Tell me some people in your life that have been there for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot. I mean, I've been very fortunate to play for a decent amount of time, and I think I always knew that I wanted to coach. So whenever my career ended, that was what I wanted to get into. So my perspective was probably a little different, with understanding, hey, I'm going to really soak in everything I can while I'm playing, so when I do transition to the coaching side, I'll have a little bit better head start, knowing what I liked as a player, what coaches, really, and yeah, I would want to emulate and kind of pick up things from them. I was really fortunate to have some great coaches. I played for Jerry Weinstein for 2 years at Sacramento City College. I mean, I probably learned more in those 2 years than I've learned in my entire career. Super detail oriented, covered every part of the game. I was a two-way guy at that level, so I pitched, but I also played in the infield. I played in the outfield, so I got a chance to learn really every aspect of his program over 2 years. And he was always trying to be on the cutting edge of everything he did, and we covered every topic of baseball. So it was great to be able to play in that program. We were ultra successful, and then I went to University of Miami in Florida, and we won a national championship there. I won a national championship at Sac City the year before. So I was, very lucky to be on back-to-back championship teams and play with some really good players and coaches. Jim Morris at Miami, was there at the time, and he did a great job, preparing us. And we had some really good players. We were probably a little bit down that year from the year before, but we just had some competitive guys that were really bought in and really, were great teammates to each other. We still keep in touch. And, up until this year, we were the last number one seed to win the College World Series. So that was
Yes,
kind of a
sir.
thing that we had kept going for a long time, which was really cool. But yeah, I would say in the college realm, I mean, that was great. And then in my professional career, just got a chance to play with a lot of really good players and a lot of really good coaches. And you just get a chance to see how those guys prepare. You get to see how there's just different guys that they learn and compete in different ways that work for them. And I think that's really helped me with my coaching career because what worked for me, it might not necessarily work for someone else. So when you get a chance to play with the highest level guys playing in the big leagues for a short amount of time, and then through the minor leagues, and getting to play, for some teams that were really successful, and then players individually, I think that's helped with my progression as a coach because, I had a lot of success as a player. I was on some successful teams, but there was a lot of failure along the way too. And, you're going to learn from that as much as anything. So I think, those coaches and those players that I got a chance to be with, and then, finding my own way to be successful, that really helped me for coaching to jump right in and feel like, hey, I have a lot to offer these guys, and I'm still learning. I mean, I by no means have this thing figured out. I mean, I constantly am talking to other coaches and talking to our players. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to do, right now is just build relationships with our players and really get them to trust me because I'm going to ask a lot of these guys, and if they know that I'm doing it for their benefit, they're really going to buy in and really be able to put everything they can into what we're telling them or what we're doing for them. But you can't do that without them trusting that you're doing it for their benefit. And in order to do that, you got to build these relationships with guys and spend some time with them. And do some team building things and really talk to them quite a bit. So you do earn that trust on both ends, and then we can really ask them to do a lot. And it's been really good. So I'm continuing to try to do that, more and more. I think it's a little different era, when I grew up playing, your coach told you to do something and you did it. And that was just, there was no really questions asked. I think a lot of the guys now want to know why. And I don't think that's a problem. I think, you tell them why, but in order to tell them why, you got to have some trust and have some relationships with these guys. And that's fun. I enjoy that. I think there's nothing there's probably not much I enjoy more than, spending time, one-on-one or with a small group of our guys and really getting a chance to get to know these guys. And that's, that's a great feeling to be able to do that and then go out and put in the work and know that, hey, they know that we're doing this for them. And it's not just baseball, it's off the field too. So that's the great thing about coaching.
Trust, knowledge, and facts, and you bring it all forward to them. You say, "Hey, this is why it works. This is what we're doing." They'll buy in. They'll buy into you if they see you putting in the effort as well. So that's a big thing, being able to do those individual and small group meetings. I mean, getting to get these guys ready for a mental thing. A lot of these guys are not ready and haven't been a part of a big season like this. We're talking 60 games. That's a lot of baseball to be playing. And it's not just the physical strain. That's a lot of mental strain too, Coach.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, who do we got for a breakout candidate? I know we got guys that we got some really talented players, Jaron and PJ and Max Hendren. These are some guys that we already know that are going to be really good. Tell me about some of these guys that might be a breakout candidate for you this year, Coach.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think it's exciting because we do have some really good players coming back that had great years for us last year, and then I think we're really talented. With the group of guys that we have. What we probably lack a little bit is the experience actually playing, and that's probably our challenge as coaches is to try to get these guys, prepared to play some games, even though they haven't played as many. But we got a guy like Austin Turkington. He pitched in a lot of roles for us last year. We used an opener at times where we would kind of try to maximize our strengths as a pitching staff, and we used him to open games. We used him to close games. He was one of our kind of top, almost like a swing guy where we could use him in a starting type role. We could use him in a closing role. We could use him to open. Our kind of, position we have with the staff is let's put our best guys in the biggest spots of the game. And, sometimes that's to face the first three hitters in the lineup when the score is 0-0. And that's why we will use a guy, maybe one of our top relievers, but I think he's really turned the corner. He's got a chance to start for us and really pitch some significant innings and go deep into games. And he's definitely one of them. And we have some guys returning from injury too on the mound. Oliver De La Torre, he started for us last year. He had some health problems that he was kind of going through. He had a really good fall for us. We think he can, start for us and do some things for us on the mound that could be really, really good. And Seth Gwynn was a good player for us in the outfield last year. He was kind of a surprise guy that, we're excited for him. We have RJ Green drafted really high last year and had a good year and center fielder. And, he's going to plug into the outfield and be a really good option for us. Dominic Smaldino, who was our DH at the end of the year, he's got a chance to play first for us and hit in the middle of the order. Big time power guy. Really had a good fall for us. That's probably, a short list of some guys. And I could probably name, 20 guys that I think are candidates for that. Which is kind of crazy because it's, I think we have a good core. It's an interesting year. We have a really good core group of guys, but we also have some guys that are a little bit experienced, but a lot of talent, So it's exciting for us. I think we're excited to kind of, excited to get into the season and see these guys gain experience. I think our team's got a chance to really get better as the year went on. And that's a little bit how we were last year too. We finished the year 20-5. We kind of found out who we were by going through some adversity, and probably one of the better teams in college baseball at the end of the year. Just once we kind of, gained some experience and kind of figured out what everybody's roles were, got them to buy into those roles. And we were, we were pretty confident, once we got into the second half of the season, and it showed in our, scores and the games we played in the series, because we were beating some really good teams and playing really well. So I think this team has a chance to do that as well. Just a little bit less experience, but that's the fun thing about coaching for sure. So.
Yeah, and like you mentioned already, Oliver, he was my number one on this list of going. This guy is a guy who has the ability to break out. He could be that weekend rotation guy that really solidifies this roster. Gavin Eddy and Quinn Larson, two other guys that I think could step up big and give you some big innings this year, Coach. Very excited to see what these guys can do coming forward this year. Very close last year to making the tournament, just right there on the cusp. Speaking of going to a new conference now, you're going to ACC. They sent four teams to Omaha last year. What's it like going to this new conference? And I know you guys' first road trip is Duke, I believe, right? So your first time out of California is at Duke.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think our whole team and staff is really excited. I mean, it's a great conference. I mean, I'm getting to know the coaches in the conference, and trying to understand what it's going to look like. And I think I'm excited on a personal level just to get to know these coaches better and travel to some of these places and just become a better program, because we're playing against so many great programs and great coaches and great teams, and obviously compete at a really high level. And obviously the pack was great. I mean, we're talking about the same deal on the West Coast, and now we're kind of getting a chance to experience that, in a different region. So I think there's nothing but excitement from our program and our staff, and it's going to be really challenging, but that's also why you play at this level. You want to play against the best, and you want to compete against the best and hopefully beat the best. And so we're preparing to do that. But yeah, just excited to be able to do it. I think there's really no other way to describe it. If you don't feel that way, I don't think you love the competition. And I think everybody that here loves it. I mean, we're really excited for the opportunity.
Yeah, and there's so many good, like you said, coaches and players and teams, and you're talking about teams that sent 11 teams that could go. You could go deeper than that this year. I'm very excited for what the ACC is doing. I think that adding you guys, adding Stanford, it was great for what they're trying to accomplish as far as being a top tier baseball conference. Now, when you look at that, what series or game are you most excited for? I know, I mentioned the Duke one. I'm really excited for that one. But
Yeah.
what's one that you're pretty excited here for?
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I mean, that's going to be the opening weekend. We get a chance to get on the road. We're playing at home quite a bit. I think we're trying to figure out how to manage the travel. I think we're actually going to travel less this year than we traveled last year, which is kind of the plan. So I think all the trips that we make are going to be really exciting. We go to Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Louisville. So we have those four trips. I think we're all excited to go on the road. And then we're going to host some great opponents here too. So I think, getting a chance to get the teams like, Florida State and Boston College and Clemson and NC State are all coming to Cal. I think we're going to have some great crowds here. I think the community here, we've done really, really solid with the attendance on the weekends with the Stanford series and Oregon State and UCLA and some of these programs. But I think the people in the area are going to be excited to see some teams they've never seen before come play at Cal. So I think, all those conference series are going to be really exciting for us, and they're all new.
Yeah.
It's a complete change. So it's going to be really cool just to, see this environment, at home and on the road. But I think you're right. I mean, just right away getting to get a chance to get on the road and play some great teams and start to see kind of what your team's made of, and then make adjustments from there. It's going to be really fun.
And then you get the three-way swing, so it's going to be 3 years. You play every team in the conference and home. It's awesome. I mean, you're going to get to build all these new relationships and build some new rivalries. It's a really good thing that they've done here. And again, I'm very excited for that Duke series there. Coach Pollard's done a terrific job up there, and I think you guys are doing a great job in that series. It's going to be awesome there early in the year. But I can't wait, Coach. How do we get into the tournament? How do we get to back to Omaha in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the same. I know it's like the boring answer, but it's kind of what we tell our guys. We just focus on the process. We're trying to get better every single day. We understand that it's not there's no magic, day or magic thing you do to get you there. You just have to be consistent. You got to be ready to prepare and deal with adversity, and learn how to play the game one pitch at a time as well as you can possibly do it, and focus on the next most important thing, even when things go your way or don't go your way. So that's really our focus. We really try to prepare every day. We try to focus on the process of getting better and competing with everything we got on that day, regardless of the conditions or how we feel. So we're just trying to control what we can control. And we know that with the talent level we have, and if we're able to continue to get better at that, we're going to put ourselves in position to win baseball games. And I think that's the best possible approach that you can have in this game. You obviously we want to get to Omaha. We want to win a conference championship. We want to play well at home. We want to do all the things necessary, to get us to that point. But we also understand that, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to play the game one pitch at a time and compete with everything you got and prepare, for every possible situation. And then, let things take care of themselves, to some degree. And if we can do that, we know we're going to be in a position to win a lot of baseball games. So that's really our mindset, and that becomes more important than the bigger goals. I mean, I think all of our guys, have the dreams of playing at that high level, getting drafted, but we know that the way to do it is to really control what you can control and really trust the process. And if we do that, we're going to be in a good spot.
I like that, coach. And if you guys play well in conference, that boosts you so much instantly. Just being in the ACC this year and being able to take care of business like that. I tell people all the time that ask me like, how do you get there? Play well in conference play, and then have one hot arm and one hot bat, and you can get all the way there. That's all it really takes at that time, honestly, to get there. And I know you've seen it firsthand. It doesn't take this crazy amount of stuff. It's like get through conference play, get a hot arm, get a hot bat, and you can get there. Coach, you want to tell anything else to these fans that are out here waiting for college baseball to start here in 68 days?
I mean, I'm just excited for college baseball in general. I think the college baseball landscape has continued to get more and more popular, and for good reason. I mean, there's so many good players, there's so many good coaches. I think in general, college baseball has promoted the game really well, and it's an exciting time to be involved in college baseball. And I think gaining popularity throughout the country has been a really cool thing to see. So yeah, I think we're excited for that, and even to the West Coast, I think it's gaining more ground on the West, and it's only going to do better when we're bringing some of these teams in and playing on a little bit more of a national stage, and every year it's continued to get better with that. So, I think that's exciting for the fans and exciting for our alumni and donors and all the people involved in our program. It's a really cool time to be involved in college baseball.
Yeah, and baseball was so regional for so many years, and now it's a full national broadscape. It had more viewers than the NBA Finals last year. I mean, this game is growing so fast, and I love it. I'm so happy that there's so many fans out there. Coach, thank you so much for coming on today. I know we'll catch back up again in the spring. I'll let you get away there and get back after it, all right?
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.